What it do? What it do? Y'all, I be wearing no black today. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? I took this one out of the closet here. You know, let's just go like that. Let's go like that. You know, something like that right there. Testing. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Testing. I said a hip, hop, hippity hop. It's about to get real serious today. As in, it's always serious. Gotcha. Ethan, what is good, my guy? Just my guy, you know? Just... what the heck is good? What is good? Maybe I should turn my light up a little bit. Y'all can see me a little bit better. You know. Thank you for the hearts. We outcha. We're out here doing the Lord's work. Every single day. I swipe my card and do the nay-nay. Okay, I'm just kind of getting set up. Yeah, we're going to do more chakra theme, but we're going to do it from the aspect of the 10 Commandments and the 10 Sphirot from the Tree of Life. So that is what is in store. What is in store. You know? Maybe I like that light better. I try to drink more water today so I don't lose my voice. Yeah, it's about to be serious. Strap in. Freaking put on your hazmat-suit. I'm just kidding. Wait, is that like potentially a trigger? I don't know. A trigger of 2020? It's about to get serious. Yeah. So, we're gonna get through as much as we can, right? Right now. And essentially, it's about to be a fantastic class. Oh, is this too much? Is this too crazy to hit it with a double pillow? Whoa. Class is in session. Y'all better be serious. Put your phone at the front of the class and turn it off. Y'all, that's triggering, isn't it? It's so triggering. Put your phone in this crusty dusty box that everyone else has put their crusty dusty phone in, and hopefully you don't get 12 strands of COVID. 'Cause class is in session. Alright, well. Yeah, same, brother. Same. Yeah, my new favorite saying is crusty dusty, fusty musty. Yeah, that's a favorite saying of mine. It's a new, it should be one word. I feel like it can kind of, combine those, and it's just a plethora full of meaning that I do adore and I do love. Or I want to disregard. Crusty, musty, dusty, fusties. Yeah, so, y'all. We got some peeps in here. My glasses are freaking filthy. More filthy than crusty, musty, dusty phones. Dang, it's filthy. I think I'm just not gonna go ahead and do whatever that was. Okay. Because what we are gonna do right now is this. That's better. I do like to wear my glasses at an angle. People have made fun of me for it, and those people are not my friends anymore. So, just to make things clear. About to get real serious in here. Okay, y'all. Well, if you haven't been here before, welcome. And if you are a regular attendee, welcome back. This is Gracious Guidance. I am your host. My name is Miss Gracious. Put some respect on my name. Okay? Yeah, so today we're going to be diving quite deeply. I've been quite entranced with Aristotle today. Our homeboy, our home dog. He's a G. And when one traverses down some of these more philanthropic, philosophic, my bad, y'all. It's quite a journey indeed. So, thank you for all the likes. Very much appreciate it. Now, we might as well get started. We're going to be discussing the 10 Commandments, which are God's law, and all the divine energy centers as well. Maybe I'll take these off for now because I'm getting vertigo. I'm just dramatic, y'all. I'm not getting vertigo. Okay. We're going to explore some of this ancient wisdom to light up our modern lives. Can you believe it? Now, technically, I'm going to weave the 10 Commandments. If y'all don't know, it's from the Bible. The chakra system. And by the way, this is not a religious class. This is a spirituality class. I would like to preface that. What's the difference? Well, I'm taking religious knowledge as a foundation to build on spirituality, right? Just as the lower 5 chakras are a foundation that build on to our upper 2 chakras that can expand in spirituality and divine light, divine guidance, connected to God, connected to source. Does not matter what you call it. Whatever you call it, divine source already knows. And guess what? They hear you loud and clear. So it doesn't matter what you call it. It matters the intention behind what you call it. Our intentions behind what we say and do are what matter the most. What is good, Kaden? Let's go. We got you, y'all. Now, yeah, so essentially what I do in my own life that I have found very useful, and what I'm teaching in general in these classes and stuff that we're doing here, is to build a good, strong foundation of different wisdom, different practices, teachings, knowledge, to integrate that into applying it and utilizing it in your own life. And from every different background within every sector of intelligence, we can learn something, you guys. And also, of course, I always like to preface with anything I say, you guys are to take these things that I say and you're to think about them and expand on your own knowledge. The things I say and anything that you learn from anyone, doesn't matter who it is to expand your own thinking capacities. It's not to take anything as absolute truth other than to expand your own thinking capacities. Because guess what? All the truths that we have currently right now on this planet Earth are limited. They're not even, like, we're still a very primitive species. Yeah, we might have AI, but guys, we're still very limited as human beings. AI is probably going to help us and almost be more forceful in having us expand our ideas and our beliefs. But humans, we are still quite primitive, and it's our job to keep raising in consciousness together. So thank you for being here. And yeah, so essentially, guys, we're taking a couple different disciplines and we're marrying them together to see how these different disciplines connect, and we're also connecting them into our own lives to show up better, to be better, to do better. All the chakras, right? I see, I do, I feel, I speak, I am one, I think, whatever, right? To make sure that we're in ultimate alignment. That way we can lead with purpose and show people what it's like to have divine light in their lives. Okay, so again, mixing the 10 commandments from the Bible, which I absolutely love and I am obsessed. Okay, the chakra system, which we've been discussing beginning of this week into last weekend, the end of last week, and then some different Eastern traditions and the insights from the Kabbalah as well. Specifically, it's going to be the Tree of Life. And then also, of course, Aristotle. Chia, my boy out here, Aristotle. We at ya. We love him. Okay. Now, these different aspects from different sectors are going to help us in being like blueprints that we can marry and mirror and converge together to help us in aligning our soul, body, and spirit with more divine light and more divine flow. You already know. We out ya. So we're going to start with some questions first. And I want you guys to think about these. This first question is going to be more about something to kind of ground us in. The other questions are going to be a little bit more ethical. Because 10 Commandments, Aristotle, 10 Commandments are ethical. They're ethics. It doesn't matter really who they're from, this or that, they're ethics. Aristotle, he has a lot on ethics. He has a book on ethics. Of course, the Kabbalah, all about ethics. Right, so we're just merging a lot of these things. Having your ethics and your morals and your beliefs in alignment, right, will also get your chakras in alignment too. Because what are your beliefs? Your beliefs are your gut reaction of how you would act in a scenario. Your values, right? Your values are how you would act in a specific scenario when it's a this or that. You don't even think because they're already ingrained, and you have a gut reaction because your gut reaction is going to tell you what's more valuable based on what you do and what you decide based off of the two options, right? So, this first question, by the way, I haven't even been reading any of this because y'all are kind of far from me. So, the brain will shrivel like a raisin. Yeah, for some people will utilize AI inaccurately and they will shrivel like raisins, yes. Other people will use it to be superhuman computers themselves. And we also already have our good friend and noble gentleman, Elon Musk, who's creating the Neuralink, right? Where we're already going to be cyborgs. We're already cyborgs already. So, yeah. Try to have a little bit more positivity and neutrality in these things because it's only going to help us out. I'd rather be born in this time when we have all the information at our fingertips to be the best we can than to be born, which we were in previous lifetimes, born in harsher environments, guys, with no heat, no electricity, no nothing, no freaking McDonald's at the end of the street. Not that I condone McDonald's, but hey, more power to you. Okay, is it about to be 3 levels? I'm not really touching on those, I don't believe. But, anyways. So, think about this, guys. If you've ever felt like you're off, or like you're leaking energy, where energy is being siphoned from you. Let me actually fix the screen and try to, move it better. Move it better. Hopefully you guys can see me a little bit better. Hopefully y'all can see me better. But if you've ever felt like you're a little bit off, you're leaking energy, you're chasing the wrong things that don't fulfill you, you're stuck in patterns of lower vibrational energies. Maybe it's envy, frustration, or disconnection. It's all universal. We all go through these things. Well, essentially, what we're talking about today is going to help heal those cracks in your vessel, your vehicle, doesn't matter what you call your body. It's literally like a vehicle. Okay? To live from wholeness and pour in more divine light. When we have those lower vibrational energies, they create cracks in our vessels where they can't hold divine light. Okay? It might be from ego, could be from lack, separation. With God's laws, the 10 Commandments, there's a lot of wisdom here. A lot of wisdom in the 10 Commandments, okay? A lot of people, when they hear 10 Commandments, they get turned off because they're like, oh, it's just religion. No, think greater than that. Think greater than that. It's rules to live by, not because you're trying to be controlled, but because you're trying to be a vessel that can hold more divine light. And guess what? When you hold more divine light, you additionally hold more miracles. You want miracles in your life? 10 Commandments are a perfect place to start, okay? For many reasons, and that's what we're covering. Now, with Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, he brought more of a rational lens on ethics, metaphysics, physics, right, politics, all those things. So his book on ethics is essentially defining values as virtues. Our good old Aristotle knew the value of having morals, of having ethics. He knew the value in that because it creates not only a beautiful society, but it gives you a great life. Because you're choosing to make decisions from a higher perspective that's more neutral and not highly polarized with your own ethics. So, yeah, courage, justice, temperance, having patience lead to actually a flourishing life, right? The golden mean is what Aristotle used to say, and that essentially he was talking about the extremes. So finding the golden mean between the extremes. Courage is between cowardice and recklessness, right? So that's that neutral position. Cultivating it through practiced wisdom, not just experience. It's more embodied virtues, embodied truth. It's great to have knowledge, but what's better than just having knowledge is applied knowledge, applied truth, applied virtues, applied morals. Because guess what? Most people these days do not have a good set of values, a good set of morals, a good set of virtues. Most, right? You know, when you do find someone like that, it's like a diamond in the rough. Exactly. Knowledge in action. Exactly. Amen to that. It's essentially, guys, it's a diamond in the rough to have really good, solid morals. I'm talking unwavering morals, unwavering beliefs. When anything comes to rise against you, you are grounded and rooted so deeply, like the 10 Sphirot within the Tree of Life, right? That nothing can knock you over. Because guess what? When you're aligned with truth, when you're aligned with morals, when you're aligned with values, you're also in alignment with God. You're also in alignment with higher, greater good. And if there's anyone in life that you want to be aligned with, that is who you want to be aligned with. And I'm telling you this by experience. I'm telling you this because I have experienced very many bad things where being rooted in my morals consistently, no matter how bad the outside world was, in my direct and in my indirect world, I was pulled through by the divine. I was pulled through and taken care of by the divine every single time when the darkness tried to overcome me in whatever way, in whatever malicious way. So it's a safety protection and a safety mechanism as well. But you have to believe and you have to have faith. And over time you'll see, wow, I am caught. You know, it's a free fall, right? Sometimes it's a free fall. You're like, oh, if I stand on value, if I stand on morals, 10 toes down on business, you know, and everyone else is saying you need to go this way or that way, evil way, direction, the opposite of what you know is true, the opposite of what you know is right, trying to manipulate and control you to slip into the darkness because it's easier, it's safer, it's more secure, it's more prosperous. All lies, guys. Because whatever is not built on truth will crumble. And it's okay if it's not crumbling right now, eventually it will. Maybe not in this lifetime, but for sure in the next. You hear me? Entropy. Okay? I'm telling you, have faith, commitment to understanding your values and to walking your values. There is no more beautiful person than one who walks their values. That is beauty. That is all the good fruits of the Spirit within the Bible. Okay? Essentially, Aristotle's Sojadiva. Yeah, facts, bro. Aristotle's ideas complement the 10 Commandments because the commandments are your ethics, your morals, your principles, and they focus on energy and unity, not only within self and within community, but with God as well, or Source, or Allah, or whatever you want to call it. So, I do want to ask you guys a question. Or, I mean, maybe we could wait. No, I do want to ask you one question. Let's do an ethics question. I want to pick out a juicy one for you. Ooh, this is an interesting one. Okay? I want you to think about this. If if your closest friend and an extremely brilliant scientist who is on the brink of curing all different types of cancer were both drowning, who would you save and why? With that question, you would know that the two people, one of them's your best friend and one of them is someone who's literally minutes away from curing cancer for millions of people who have cancer. So who would you choose to save? Now that's a really hard question, isn't it? Because your best friend you have emotional ties to, so your gut feeling would probably be to go with the one you have emotional ties to. However, if your moral system is to believe in saving as many humans as possible, then you would probably go for the scientist who's on the brink of curing cancer. Right? So it's something to consider. Another one along the same vein would be you have a dog that you love and you have your best friend. Who do you save? That's a really hard one, huh? Because you're emotionally linked to both of those. So what would your ethics look like? I mean, technically, you might eat animals if you're not vegan. So you already kill animals already, even if you don't watch them die, right? So then would you go for the best friend because you technically don't eat humans unless you're a cannibal, which we don't have those in this class because that's foul. But you guys hear me on that? So those are interesting questions. Obviously, I don't wish that on anyone, not even my worst enemy, to be in a position like that, but there are times in our lives where we are put in ethical positions, and they are tests. They are tests from the divine to see where your loyalties lie. Your loyalties should never ever actually lie with anyone or anything on the 3D physical. Yeah, it is hard. And this isn't like yes or no or right or wrong answers or anything. It's to get you thinking about your values and what you act upon, right? So, pretty interesting. Another one would be if your boss said to lie to a client to save money or to make money, essentially to lie to a client because of money. Would you lie to the client? Another one within the workforce would be maybe not giving credit where credit's due or taking credit for someone else's work. 100%. Oh my gosh. Welcome, my queen. What a pleasure to have you here. Oh my gosh. We're talking about morals and ethics and the 10 Commandments. You guys, please welcome in the chat here one of my besties ever. I love you so much. Yeah, we're talking about morals and ethics, and we're actually considering right now a couple of more high caliber questions ethically. I know. You're so sweet. I love you. One of them, would be the drowning scenarios are always good ones because it's okay, if you have two people drowning, one of them's your best friend and one of them is someone who is about to cure all of cancer and save millions of people's lives, who do you go for? Your best friend you have emotional ties to. Oh my gosh, you're so nice. You're so nice. Your best friend you have emotional ties to. Your scientist is about to save millions of people. If you are for the collective, then would you go for the scientist? This is a hard one to answer, right? Or like your dog versus your best friend. Your dog who you love versus your best friend. Most people eat animals, but you don't eat humans. So would you go for the dog or would you go for your best friend? Your own personal dog or your best friend? If you had to save and you had to pick. So essentially, guys, the gist of it is our morals. I'm trying to discuss essentially or have people think about the questions of ethics and morals. A lot of times our beliefs and our ethics, our morals come up when there's a decision to be made. What we truly believe is how we act. Even our gut reaction is actually what we truly believe, right? So, for example, in the workforce, if you are asked by your boss to lie to get more money or less money, depending on what side of the coin, they say, hey, lie about this and get more money. Do you do it? Or if someone says, hey, good job on that work, and you know in your mind, you're like, I didn't do that. That person did. Are you taking their credit? Or are you going to give credit where credit due? Right? So your value system, exactly. Your value system, and guess what? America was built on values. Was built on the Bible, was built on God, was built on the Ten Commandments, was built on values. A society that is working and functioning and flourishing, as our good friend Aristotle says, flourishing is built on ethics and morals. And that's how you should look at yourself too. Am I walking in my truth no matter what? Am I staying deeply rooted in my values no matter what? And that doesn't mean that we need to be polarized against people that don't share our values. It just means, am I actually walking in my truth, in my ethics, or am I being swayed? Am I being manipulated by external forces? When you're being swayed and manipulated by external forces, you're out of alignment somewhere internally. We shouldn't. Unfortunately, we have manipulation at high levels in our society, but a way to combat those is knowledge and living from your ethics and morals, and looking at things not from illusion or delusion, but from a perspective of certainty of what it actually is, looking at things for what they actually are. This is something that I've had to learn, and I'm still learning because it's a very hard lesson to not create fantasies. Especially if you're a visionary. You like to create fantasies. La La Land. That's me. I'm like, oh, the sky's the limit. All these La La Land. I love La La Land. Well, guess what? There's dreaming, but then there's reality. And you need to learn what is true and what is reality and what is La La Land. And you can call in that Delulu La La Land, but you still have to, in this moment, you can have those big dreams and this and that, but you have to look at things objectively. We are so conditioned to look at things, what? Subjectively. What is subjective, guys? Our own biases, our own traumas and dramas and this and that, and things that we think are the absolute truth. The way to fix that is to be more objective. It's to not lose sight of your own ethics and morals, but to be objective in what is being presented to you, to not creating other stories or fantasies, right? So we were just talking about a little bit within some different questions on morality and ethics. This one's kind of interesting since someone put in the chat earlier about artificial intelligence. If artificial intelligence becomes conscious, which I would argue it kind of already is, should it have the same rights as humans? Another good question on ethics. Ooh, this is kind of weird. A society global ethic question. If one person's organs is like such a weird word. If one person's organs could save 5 lives, is it ethical to sacrifice that person against their will? That's already true to this day, that one person's body, you could harvest my body right now, and you could just harvest everything in my body, and people need it. That's foul. I'm glad we're talking about this. You could harvest someone's body and save a bunch of people's lives, right? Well, luckily, we're actually a little bit farther. See, the more you know, the more empowered you are, right? Because I actually know, because I've read Tony Robbins' book called Life Force, that they're already well ahead in the biomed field. They're able to literally 3D print organs. They're doing all these crazy things for organs, for kidney transplants, this and that. So technically, because I know this information, I can look at this question and be like, okay, well, we already have the biotechnology where we don't have to sacrifice a human being, because we can actually create these cells ourselves. These biocells that are needed to create an organ that can match the actual composition within that person's body, because you can't just put a foreign object in someone's body, it'll reject and that person will die, right? So there's a lot of science behind making sure that you have the right kidney, the right blood, the right heart, the right whatever for that specific person's body. We have those biotechnologies already, which this isn't a biotechnology class, but you see how knowledge is very empowering when it comes to ethics and morals, because you can apply some of your knowledge into solving and creating solutions from a more objective space. So, yes, all good. What are you guys thinking about that? Yeah, we're literally, we've got so much. I mean, the placenta, the freaking, what's it called? Basically placenta cells, guys, literally can make any type of organ, skin, eye, heart, yeah. So let's get back to today's class. we be out here exploring all kinds of topics, y'all. So if you're trying to be a multi-dimensional human being, a human doing, right, which is literally terrifying. But essentially, it's called stem cells. That's what I was trying to say. So stem cells, you can get stem cell injections, and you can reverse your body's biological age. You can also utilize, I hear you loud and clear, umbilical cord, yeah. You can also utilize stem cells, NAD+, which is a molecule that can help with rewiring and reworking your DNA, the epigenetics and all that, the expression of your DNA. Our DNA expresses itself, and that's how we look the way we look and act the way we act, right? Over time, as we age, our DNA will lose some of its information, and that's when you start to turn gray. Speaking of, whoa, look at me wearing a gray. Am I on brand with this gray today? Holy cow, right? So, essentially, y'all, when your genes start to lose some of the information, that's when your body starts to change, okay? So NAD+ is a molecule where you can actually kind of rework and reinsert that missing information that's been falling off your DNA strands to get you back into alignment with your health and wellness and vitality. So we even have like our bodies at this day, you know, we can actually live way much longer than people in the past. It's giving Moses. It's giving, we're going to be living for like 700 years. It's giving life. It's giving life force. You know what else gives life force is living from your morals and from your values. And that's where we now get back to the class. Well, this is all part of the class. I like going off on tangents with y'all. Thank you so much for all the hearts. That's so kind. On 100, what is that? I can't see. 100,000%? Shoot, girl. Shoot, 100,000. Hey. 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 Y'all. One day we're going to do these in person. It's going to be freaking awesome. A live event. Gracious guidance. Welcome. Bessie. Go Bessie. Bessie. Go Bessie. Go Bessie. Go Bessie. Y'all, okay, sorry. You never had a teacher like this before. I can tell you that right now. We lit. We lit. We stay light, you know, because we got that divine light, y'all. Big facts, no printer facts. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. I need to calm down. Lord Jesus. Okay. What did I want? I wanted this. Let's think first before we even get into the number facts. Before we get into the 10 Commandments, I want to talk about the number 10 because it's extremely significant within what we are exploring. Because 10 in numerology has very, very much so many meanings. In the Kabbalah, in the Tree of Life, which we're also discussing, and I will discuss probably almost every single class, yes, it's the number of completion. Kabbalah, on the Tree of Life, you have your 10 Sephirot. Now, of course, we have the 10 Commandments. In numerology, 1 and 0, binary code, which is all the everything. It's the divinity. Okay? That's what 10 is. I don't know why I'm always like, this is just the truth, y'all. I am dramatic. Yes, exactly. So 1 symbolizes new beginnings, start. 0 is the void. It's also a circle, right? It's completion. It's certainty. The Ouroboros, or whatever that is, the snake eating itself. Or you take a 0 and you just twist it on its side, it becomes infinity 8, right? It's wholeness, perfection, completion, cosmic order, duality resolved. More duality within the number 10 is you got groups of duality because you got 5 and 5. 2 groups to get to 10. You even have a 6 and a 4. Those are both extremely spiritual numbers. The first 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, add up to number 10. That's from Pythagoras. Now, we have 10 fingers and we stand on business on 10 toes, and we stand on morals on 10 toes while we stand on business. You guys hear me on that right now? Right meow. Okay? Oh, man. Essentially, there's a lot of meaning behind the number 10. I know, I'm screaming too. Sometimes I'm crying. Sometimes I'm crying inside. It's both expansion and completion in one. Yeah, computers are built on, your quantum code, quantum this, quantum that, quantum AI, all built on 1 and 0, right? Binary code. You even have it throughout in other religious disciplines as well. In Buddhism, you have the 10 perfections. The 10 perfections are cultivated as generosity, morality, patience, energy, meditation, wisdom, skillful means, aspiration, power, and knowledge. Those are the things that they believe a human has to cultivate to reach enlightenment. Interesting. Interesting how you take a few different religious disciplines and they all are kind of saying the same thing, just in a different way, in a different light. Connected on the tapestry of divine order of the grid of God. In Hinduism, you have the 10 avatars, which Buddhism came from Hinduism, or started as a response to Hinduism, right? How connected these things all are, but just in different fashions. It's very cool. 10 in the Bible usually represents divine order. And then, of course, as we've already discussed, within Judaism and the Kabbalah, like mystic Jewish mysticism, there it is. We have the 10 Sefirot on the Tree of Life, and we have the 10 days of awe between, I can't even pronounce this very well, but Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Cycle of deep reflection and renewal. What's really interesting about the Jewish culture is during their holidays, they aren't really like celebrating popping champagne. They're reflecting, guys. They're reflecting on, what have I done that I deserve more life on earth? I'm like, damn. That's pretty badass though, because they take the opportunity and the gift of life very seriously, which I respect on a very high level. They're reflecting, we reflect or whatever in American culture, we'll reflect it like, the end of the year. And we're not reflecting from the viewpoint of, what have I done that I deserve more life? That's an extreme, but it's saying, I'm here for a reason. Am I stepping into alignment to give back, to help with elevating consciousness? Am I stepping in alignment with what I'm here to do? Thank you. Islam is the same during its fasting months. I think that's a beautiful thing, because then you start to not take as much for granted as well. And it is more of a harsher truth, but there's a lot of truth behind thinking about that question. Because guess what? It's not a question of, I should die, I'm a horrible person. It's not that. It's a question of, am I truly in my divine purpose? Am I truly in my divine purpose where I deserve and I am proud of what I have done too, right? And that's going to look different for everyone. And that's a conviction between you and higher source, no one else, no other religion, nothing else. It's conviction between you and your direct divinity, your direct channel through your chakra system to source. So it's not to put anyone down or to put shame or anything. It's a great checkpoint. I think that's a question we should ask ourselves all the time. It sounds more morbid, but it's not, because guess what? The only thing that's morbid and mortal is our human bodies. The soul is not mortal. It's immortal. We're dualistic in nature. So it's a very healthy question actually to ask ourselves, and this is something I'm trying to incorporate in asking myself, because I want to stay in alignment with my highest timeline. Because guess what? When you do that, you actually get to, when you come back, whether it be to this dimension or a different, you get to enjoy higher consciousness because you've elevated in your consciousness by staying on the path, right? So I think it's a beautiful thing for us to question. And for those who, if anyone's new, the question that I was saying that is actually quite non-morbid, though some people might think it's morbid that we can ask ourselves as check-ins is, am I living on my divine path where I deserve another day of life? It's like, it's a morbid question, but I love that. I love that question. It really puts things into perspective. Am I really living out my truest, highest timeline that Creator has endowed for me to do? And I also, as the Creator, as a fragment of God, have endowed myself to do, right? We are fragments of that higher consciousness, the superconscious, cosmic conscious, what have you. So, if you can answer that question honestly from the bottom of your heart and be like, yes, I am living, I am proud of what I've done, how good would that feel? To be like, I am proud of what I've done, and I know that the divine is also very proud of me, because you do not seek validation from anyone else, not even from yourself. You seek validation from Source. Okay? Opinions, as our good friend Aristotle, our boy Aristotle here, he says about opinions, they're a very low vibrational, right? They're a very low vibrational type of knowledge. Their low opinions are the lowest on the lower rung of knowledge. Because a lot of times they're not backed by anything, they're just backed by feelings or emotions. And when that happens, it means you're probably polarized and you're probably not thinking clearly, and therefore you're actually vulnerable. Because when you're polarized to an extreme, you're actually putting yourself in a vulnerable position. The more neutral we can be. Yeah, exactly. They've got no depth, exactly. The more neutral you can be with seeing not only both sides of the coin, but the part of the coin on the side. You see both sides of the coin, but what about the edge too, right? Seeing everything in between, having a more neutral standpoint, doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, right? I'm not going to look at murder and agree with murder. But I'm talking about being more objective than subjective. Back to the 10. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. To the 10, the number 10 here. We love the number 10. It's giving. It's just giving. Right? So, in Taoism, interesting how in Taoism too, and of course in Islam as well, Taoism, they speak of the 10,000 things, meaning the multiplicity of all existence. Represents the unfolding of the Tao into countless forms. With Taoism, Tao you can think of as divine energy, divine light. Everyone just calls it, every religious practice calls it different things, but it's the same response to a higher truth, right? I always got my pinky out. Like, hey, yo, pinky's out, yo. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. Pinky's out. We out, ya. Now, in Islam as well, there's the 10 promised companions for guaranteed paradise. And the first 10 days, I know I'm going to butcher this, but it's one of their holidays. It's the first 10 days of the year. Marks the divine fulfillment in a very sacred time where they're reflecting. Do I deserve another day on earth? That's a dark, beautiful question. I love that question because it just reminds you that you're here for a greater purpose. And if you don't think that's true, all that means is you need to get in alignment with that purpose. And that's okay too, because when you ask yourself that question and you're like, well, I don't even know what my purpose is, that's why you ask that question, so you can get to the root and the cause or the issue to find the truth in your own path, your own tikkun, soul correction, as the Kabbalah would say. So, many, many beautiful things within the number 10, completion of a cycle and manifestation of divine order. Okay? Now, back to our regular class. We out here, guys. We proper, we fancy. With the pinkies out. Pinkies out. Okay. So, as I was saying with the Kabbalah, the 10 reflects the tikkun, which is the rectification. Oops. It's asking me to verify with a puzzle. Sorry about that, guys. It was odd. Okay. Can you all see me okay? Okay. So, when we can rectify our soul, we can have and hold more divine light. Oh, this is more about tens. We'll skip over this. This is all about tens. So, I kind of get on like these tangents and I say like what is on my notes here, and I have to like reread my notes to see where we're kind of at, which is funny. So for anyone who doesn't know much about the 10 Commandments, essentially they were first brought through by Moses in the book of Deuteronomy, in Exodus, because Exodus is before Deuteronomy. And then next, Moses retells of the 10 Commandments within Deuteronomy. Okay? And the first 5 of the 10 are put onto a stone tablet, and the second 5 of the 10 are put onto a stone tablet. So there's 2 stone tablets of 5, which is in alignment with the Chinese idea of 10, which is the 2 groups of 5. So it just gives like duality, unity, group type of vibes on the numerical side. Now, let's go ahead and get into the 10 Commandments. So the first tablet, we have our relationship with the divine, right? Essentially, the first 5 commandments are all upper chakra, all connected to your heart chakra plus. Okay? So, we'll start with the first commandment. Hopefully this isn't boring, guys. I'll try to make this like not boring. That's why I try to pull in different viewpoints to kind of switch it up. It's not just like heavy Bible. But in general, whether it's the Bible or any other spiritual text, I always do condone leaning on for your own personal, map of morals and values and beliefs, leaning on some type of system. It's a lot easier to plug and play a system that's already very well developed than to try to make up your own, or to go over a system that's already very well developed and to plug in and recreate it to your own, right? So if you don't already have a really solid belief system that you're incorporating daily and living strongly by, where when your gut reactions come up, you're on your belief system, right? You're living from your values. You're living from your morals. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. It doesn't matter if you're trying to impress the person that's in front of you or what have you, right? There's so many different opportunities for us to slip away from our values. Just this once. Just this once. Just this one little leak, little crack in my divine vessel where my light's flowing out. And that's a slippery slope. Obviously, none of us are perfect at all times, but even when we're not perfect, that's a beautiful time to reflect or own up to our faults. I own all the good, the bad, and the ugly. I own all of it. I'm like, yeah, I said that and I probably shouldn't have. And now I'm saying sorry. You hear me? Like, we're going to step out of alignment here and there. And the thing is to get back into attunement and alignment with our values. Because that is how you live an abundant and prosperous life. And what I can tell you right now from experience, even if you're going through the trenches, I'm talking like karmic trenches, right? Where you're getting beat up left and right. Left and right, you're getting beat up. Where it would be so easy, so much easier, life would be so much easier if you slipped into bad morals, if you slipped into bad habits, if you slipped into lower vibrational ways of being, lower vibrational ways of showing up. It's very easy to do that. But you know what's not easy and what's way more rewarding, even if temporarily you don't see the rewards right away? What happens every time that you stand in your values? What happens every single time? It's like a piggy bank of good karma, a piggy bank of dharma starts to build, not only for this lifetime, but for your next lifetime too. So, hear me loud and clear when I say this. It doesn't matter if you spend 10 years being beat up by karma, you stick with your morals and you do the best that you can. It doesn't matter how long that you're being just trampled by life. I don't want that for anyone, but it happens, guys. This is life. And sometimes we've done things in our past, like previous lifetimes. A lot of us have been in wars. Can you imagine killing someone? But here's the thing, because we've walked this planet Earth before, and potentially other divine universes too, there are things that you've probably done that in this life you're like, I can't believe I would have never done that. Oh, I bet. And here's the thing, karma always is going to balance the scales. Okay? And that's why, even if you're going through a period of karma where it's just like hit after hit, and you're like, God, is this ever gonna stop? That's not up for you to decide. What's up for you to decide is for you to stand tall, stand rooted and grounded in your morals. And every single decision you make, you might slip up here and there, that's okay. But as long as you're putting karma deposits, positive deposits in your karma bank, it's going to come back around. Because guess who's watching when no one else is around behind closed doors? The superconscious is taking notes. It knows everything. It's taking notes. It's seeing how you react. It's seeing how you respond. It's seeing how you show up. It's seeing if you're staying in alignment, if you're staying rooted, if you're staying grounded in your morals. And I'm telling you, karma is tricky because it makes you want to slip out of your morals because it's easier. It's easier to fall into the darkness. So it seems. It's all a joke. It's all a lie. Because when you do that, then what you're doing is you're putting in your deposits into the negative karma. There's good karma and there's bad. And you had better believe, no matter what, the scales will balance. And again, too, for anyone, which I'm sure there are people who have people in their lives, which I've discussed this before, and I'm going to say it again because it's so important. We have all had people in our lives who have done us extremely dirty. Guess what we should do? I'm not telling you just because this is what I think. I'm telling you because this is what I know. Because this is what I've studied from the professionals. I'm talking about the sages, the rabbis, the people that have PhDs, the Kabbalists, the freaking Bible, the freaking all the other spiritual texts. What I have learned is we need to be able to cut these karmic contracts. You have people that you don't like in your life that you don't want to have a repeated cycle with that same soul in your next lifetime, whether it be family, friends, coworkers, what have you, who have done you really dirty. Guess what? It doesn't take away from the fact that they've done you dirty, but here's what you do. You say thank you first, because it's a lesson, and every lesson is a blessing. You say thank you first, because guess what? They're God, and they have divinity just like you. Does not matter how dirty they did you. Which I know that's hard to swallow. You say thank you first. Exactly. And then you forgive them. Because that is how you cut these karmic cords, you cut these karmic ties. You don't want to go back repeating these same cycles, guys. That's literally the definition of hell, and insanity is repeating the same cycles. So, then, yeah, you forgive the people that have done you wrong, and you thank God, because those hard times in your life, for one, you made it out alive, because here we are. Am I right? For two, you don't want to repeat these same cycles again. So, close these cycles out. And that is how you close these cycles out. And that is a miracle within itself. And you'll be lighter. Your chakras will be in more alignment. You gotta let go. You gotta let go. You gotta release the heavy, dense weight of these lower vibrational energies. They do not belong trying to siphon your energy and bring you down with them. And anything they say and project towards you is a direct reflection about how they feel about themselves. Which is very sad, because some people are very nasty. And that's how they feel about themselves, guys. What comes from the heart comes out the mouth. Okay? A lot of these things I'm saying throughout all my classes, because these are things I really want you guys to internalize. These are truths that I really, really want you to internalize and try out for yourselves if you haven't already. Exactly. When they go low, you go high every single time. You know what Jesus said in the Bible, which I do not condone religious dogma or religious control or killing because of beliefs in war. But I do condone reading the Bible every day. I think it's fantastic. It's completely changed my life and given me the foundation to be able to reach different heights on a very high spiritual level. Now, what Jesus says in the Bible, right when he's on the cross, nailed to the cross, right? I mean, it's so gruesome. It's disgusting, guys. It's so gruesome. What does he say? He says, "Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do." Why do they do not know what they do? Because they have lower consciousness levels, guys. Did you know that psychopaths don't have higher consciousness levels like you do? Doesn't mean it's okay for them to kill. But we gotta recognize and look at things from a neutral standpoint of, this is what it is. So how do we raise consciousness collectively together? That soul, a psychopath, that soul, more underdeveloped, more of an animalistic soul, right? A psychopath's soul has energetically, with the divine, said, I want to go to Earth and I want to work on upping my conscious level. And so they come here and they're given the opportunity to do that. And we've seen that it doesn't always work out as beautifully as it should. But what I'm saying here is, Jesus was saying they do not know what they do. What he's referring to, guys, is they're probably a lower consciousness level. By choice, a lot of times. We have to be extremely intentional, by choice, with intention, to up-level our consciousness together collectively. Okay? So, yeah. Right, so we're at the first of the 10 Commandments here. Welcome in, guys. I think now's a good time to just say a prayer. I usually do a prayer sometime within the meeting or within the class. I think what we'll do is, it's already 9 o'clock. Are y'all still wanting to keep going for a little bit more, or y'all wanting to start with the 10 Commandments tomorrow? I'll still do a prayer no matter what. We have like 8 people in here, so I'm like, shoot. Okay, sure. If you guys want to keep going, let's go. We out here in the darkness. Okay, if you guys think the night is young, I think the night is young too. Okay. Let us pray. I want merch shirts like that too, you know? With the let us in that prayer hands. Like, that's so funny. Let us pray. LFG. LFG. Okay, y'all. This getting pretty serious. Okay. Off the cuff. Let's go. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Creator, dear Heavenly Divine Mother, first off, I'd like to thank you for everyone on the other side of this screen. May you bless them. May you protect them. May you also expand their vessels to be able to hold more light and transform miracles in their lives. May you also give us the divine genius to be able to not only hear these truths that you have laid out for us, but to also incorporate these truths on a very high level, so that we may go out and we may serve and build the kingdom that you have required and expected us to build, in raising collective consciousness together through love and through unity, through divinity with you. Please, God, any siphoning energies, any low vibrational energies that try to come and taunt us and keep us from the truth, please direct those lower vibrational energies and transmute them collectively into the good, doing your will as your will should be done. In Jesus' name, in Elon Musk's name, amen. Sometimes I gotta throw Elon in there. He's like higher level consciousness. Okay. Let us. Amen. That's right. My guy out ya. We out ya. Alright, y'all. Before we get into the commandments, let's do another juicy question within ethics. This one is, would you steal medicine you can't afford to save a loved one's life? That's an interesting one. For one, I do feel like it'd be really hard to steal medicine. Because of the way it's distributed. But let's just say maybe it was just on the shelves in the store. would we steal to save our loved one's life? Ethan says definitely. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and so, and the reason that is, guys, right, is because you value a human life over anything else, lower 3D. So perhaps if it was on the shelf, you might be inclined at that time to take it. And at that time, what you'd also be inclined to accept is the karma that comes with the stealing, which is probably going to be a walk in the park compared to the emotions that come with losing your yeah. And so I guess a better ethics question would be, when you have two lives, whose life do you save? Because then you're like, okay, true. You know, karma works in very interesting ways, because a lot of times, one thing we don't really think about when it comes to ethics is we don't really think about the difference between spiritual laws and 3D laws, like government, what we have in the 3D here, right? All of our police force. So we have our 3D laws and we have our spiritual laws. And so we can always kind of weigh those two out as well. Because guess what? Finances don't mean crap to the spiritual side. God doesn't look at you and say, oh, you have no money, you're worthless. Or you have lots of money, you're Elon Musk, you're worth more. God doesn't say that, right? So then it's almost like, okay, so there's the question of ethics, but then there's also the question of spiritual ethics. Exactly. Your gut feeling is going to give you what you need. Uno reverse. Yeah, Uno reverse. Right. And your intentions also, to the Kabbalists specifically, that's what they say matters in everything that you do. Obviously, you don't want to be like, oh, I killed someone, but my intentions were pure. That's psychopath. That's lower consciousness. That's not as developed consciousness. That's closer to animal consciousness, which is a group consciousness, not an individual consciousness, right? So, yeah, it's an interesting question to kind of reflect on. Oops. Now, in the first tablet of the 2 tablets, where we have 5 of the 10 commandments each, is our relationship with the divine. So that's going to be, again, connected to our upper chakras. Okay? The first one is connected to our crown chakra. Oh, I'm stuck on something. And so our crown chakra, y'all, divine, our literal divine light that flows in, is, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt. Basically saying, I am God, like there is a source, there is a God, and you're to follow that God. That is the foundation of faith and of spirituality, declaring that source does have an active presence in our lives. Again, there's only 0.003 to 0.005 of what our eyes can actually see in reality. So the 99%, guys, there's 99% of things that we can't see. That's going to be things like the spiritual realms. That's the actual reality of life. The reality of life is there's way more tied to higher dimensions than there is to the very low, dense dimension of Earth. And we are to rise above the 3D. So, your crown chakra, again, guys, as we discussed, is the one that connects to divine unity. Right, exactly. There's always, as she's saying, connectivity within other disciplines where this stuff always checks out. Why? Because God is both. God is both spiritual and science and logic. God is art and reason. God is applied knowledge and experience. God is everything. Yeah, no, I hear you loud and clear. So essentially, guys, we only use a very low percent of our brain, and we only use an even lower percent, microdose of our eyes, what we perceive. And yet people still don't believe in God. And you know what? That's actually part of their soul correction tikkun, to not believe in God. Why would someone come here to not believe in God and decide, I want to be born outside of religion, I want to be born into atheism, I want that to be my soul contract? Because they have had past lives where they were controlled, manipulated, didn't think for themselves. And so when you step into atheism, you think for yourself first. And that's their soul correction. It's not bad to be an atheist. It's their journey where they learn how to think for themselves as a soul correction to grow into understanding there is a divine source. Because a lot of times, if that's your soul correction, is to be atheism when you're born here on this path, it means you probably had some harsh lifetimes from being manipulated and abused within religion or within a cult or something, or a guru or something. So they choose to experience the opposite of like complete thought freedom. To then what usually happens to these people that come here with wanting to do that is they'll eventually, they think for themselves and they can come to the conclusion themselves that God is real, source is real. There's the 99% that we don't see or perceive. There's the 95% of our brain that we don't use, right? So all of these things are very interconnected, and it helps us understand and see things from a wider angle, to have neutrality, to not have polarity, to see that, hey, every single soul that comes here is on a divine mission, and they're all learning and growing. We're going down like different paths, but we're going to the same destination. Okay? Which is higher consciousness collectively. Not only here, global, but also universal. Like, multiversal. Okay? So it's pretty cool. So, of course, this first commandment of there's only source, there's only God. Thank you. I love you so much, Tosh. I love you. Is Keter crown in the Kabbalah. That's the very first Sefirot that's connected to divine. That is your divine channel to be able to bring in that divine light, that divine flow of consciousness. Okay? Now, that's where your soul merges with source. With Aristotle, he says that reverence for the divine as the source of all good guides us to live with purpose. Now, Kabbalistically, the first commandment teaches about clinging to divine light. And I already said this earlier, we do not seek fulfillment, we do not seek validation from anyone else, not even ourselves, Doesn't mean we can't enjoy and be proud of ourselves and celebrate our celebrations that we need to celebrate. I'm not talking about not enjoying life. It's about bringing heaven on earth. And how you do that is you do not seek anything outside of yourself and your divinity with source, really, which also is coming from inside of you as well, because it's channeled through, okay? Because we're vessels, right? Now, yeah, so when we are seeking fulfillment outside of ourselves, which is outside of God or source, what have you, we fracture our vessel, okay? And we create a sense of lack. When you're not coming from a place of wholeness, you're coming from a place of lack. Now, we're speaking on the 10 Commandments, y'all, so Eddie, listen up. This is for you. So, essentially, what I love about the 10 Commandments is they are complete and whole in themselves. I spoke about this a little bit yesterday. Your 10 Commandments here that we've been gifted actually encompass they can encompass all of our decisions in life. Because essentially, there's at least one commandment that covers the energy of not having an evil tongue, the energy of not having an evil mind, the energy of not having an evil I said mind, body, not having an evil hand, the energy of basically energetically not being evil, or not being in lack, or not being in lower vibrational energies, okay? So that's the cool thing about these 10 Commandments is when you live by these principles, they actually encompass all of the other stuff too. They're extremely expansive. It's an expansive operating system that we have right here. And we're lucky to have this because this is how we bring about divinity, abundance, our birthright, heaven on earth. The things that you want and desire. They're planted in your mind for a reason. They're not planted in your mind to make you run up a wall and go crazy idiotic. They're planted in your mind because you have the opportunity to bring these things about. And the way that we can bring these things about, abundance, miracles, blessings, into our lives and overflowing into the lives around us, dare I say the world, right, dare I say, don't we all want that? Be in so much abundance that we are literally overflowing to the world. These things are planted in your mind because they are something that you can actually have. How do we get these things faster? How do we close the gap on our abundance, on our inheritance, divine inheritance? We close the gap by living from a place of truth, of morals, of certainty, of not lack. Now, there are some spiritual concepts that go more extreme, where they're like, for the Kabbalists, for example, there's some things where our sages in the past where before even having water, they pray to God and say, I don't need this because I do not lack anything. I am whole within. But reveal this to me. Reveal the light to me. Reveal the ability to enjoy this water. But do know that I do not need it because I am whole. Well, that's interesting. It's quite extreme, right? Because it's like, okay, well, we kind of need water. But you see the mindset. It's all about the mindset behind the intention. And that's where we can start to incorporate this into our own lives. Am I wanting that snack? Am I wanting that snack because I need it? Or am I wanting that snack? Wait, you guys know what I'm saying. Am I wanting that snack from a place of lack? From a place of maybe I'm eating my emotions. I fall victim to this all the time. Because, I don't know, being a girl with hormones, I can't make excuses, but, you know, sometimes emotional eating is nice. Well, guess what? The intention is off, right? I'm not about to be shy with that. I'm not perfect, guys. Don't ever think I'm sitting across from you. I'm sitting beside you. I'm sitting beside you. Okay? Literally. So, what we should do before decisions is we should have conversations with the divine, and what we should also do before having anything in our lives revealed to us to be enjoyed, we should say first, hey, am I coming from a place of wholeness, or am I coming from a place of lack? You know, there's a lot of divine wisdom in that. For example, since everyone likes to talk about Botox and my lip filler, let's talk about it. Some divine wisdom in lip filler. I'm bringing it to you right now, front and center. Lip filler is an augmentation of your vessel. Okay? It's an augmentation. Now, when someone goes to get lip filler, which I'm guilty of this, are you coming from a place of lack? Are you coming from a place of, I need this to feel better about myself, or I need this to be able to have this relationship, or I need this to be able to have this confidence? Now, I know that the men in the group would not be able to generally, align with lip filler, but perhaps it's some sort of spinning rims. I don't know. Whatever it might be. Pull up, car stop, rims still spinning. Eee! I'm kind of obsessed with that. I kind of want spinning rims one day. You guys hear me though? So, apply this logic to whatever it might be in your life. Are you doing something from a place of lack, or are you doing something from a place of wholeness? So what's the beauty of doing something from a place of wholeness? What's the beauty of me and going to get lip filler from a place of wholeness? From a place of, I do not need this, but I get to experience the things in the world that I'd like to experience. And the reason why a lot of these things are in the world is because there's a desire from someone else, because we're so interconnected with our subconscious mind, where everything is noted. The little fibers on this ground right here in my carpet, subconscious knows every single fiber. Bruh, it's crazy. What I'm trying to say is, when you come from a place of wholeness and you say, I'm going to get my lip filler, not from a place of lack, because I want to have this experience revealed to me, heaven on earth, right? From a place of wholeness, this is an experience that I want to have. Not only do I get to enjoy the augmentation as an experience, guess who else gets to enjoy revealing their own light and their own truths? The doctor. The doctor who spent years and years learning how to do injections, and who has an obsession and a deep love for aesthetics. Guess what? It's very fulfilling, and it creates community. When we can share on our shared interests and wants and desires within a good value system. The Bible, Jesus never said, don't get no lip filler. Right? Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, being able to have something revealed to you, the divine light of getting your lip filler being revealed to me, I can create connection with the doctor, which I absolutely love her. She's amazing. I get to enjoy and have her talents revealed to me, which her gift is symmetry. You see how my lips are even, nothing's sagging to one side. These are contoured. Y'all, these are contoured. Get into it, yeah. Get into it, yeah. It's not about me, but what I'm trying to say, anything in your life, when you're coming from a place of wholeness, you're coming from a place of, I want this beautiful experience revealed to me. I want the connectivity with other human beings along this same path. I'm meeting with this doctor who has a desire to bring about beauty in different ways, aesthetically. I'm giving that doctor the opportunity to feel fulfilled. You ever thought about that? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool how interconnected we are to be able to enjoy and share experiences together, to be able to reveal the divine light. Exactly. You and tattoos. Exactly. Same thing. Same exact thing. Am I doing this from a place of wanting to connect, wanting to reveal and enjoy these experiences? Having a tattoo on yourself, you know how many times you can have a conversation with another human being. I'm glad you enjoy this. I love you so much. How you can enjoy conversation and connectivity over shared desires and shared truths. Right? So we gotta always look at things from larger contexts. Essentially, we're talking about the context here is when it comes to doing anything in our lives, are we making the decision from a place of lack, or are we making a decision from a place of being whole? When you have a cigarette, for example, which this is not to condemn anyone. Remember, I'm always on the same side of the table as y'all. We're on the same side of the table. We're ascending collectively together consciously. But here's the thing. When you have a cigarette, you are always signaling to the divine and to yourself, which is divine, connected to divine, that you are coming from a place of lack. Why? How do I know this? Because when you have a cigarette, you're addicted, for one. And what is the addiction? The addiction is a middle part of the brain here that says you need something when you don't. It says you need something to survive when you actually don't. It's a part of your brain that lies to you. It's a part of your brain that says you are not whole when you are. And that's why you gotta stop those addictions, right? In your own divine time, whatever that looks like for you. But you're putting cracks in your vessel every time you have a cigarette. And how do I know this, guys? By experience. Because guess what? I used to smoke in my early 20s. And believe me, I'm a very all-in type of person, if you can't tell. All in. Right? If I could, I would have rims spinning on my rims. I'd be spinning. My rims, I'd pull up and they'd be spinning. Okay? My lips, all in. I commit. My studies, all in. I commit. When I was smoking, I would smoke probably like almost a third a pack a day. So, anytime I speak on things, just know I'm not coming from a place of judgment. I'm coming from a place of certainty, of sharing this wisdom with you, so that way you can go and run with this wisdom. And run with this wisdom and apply it to your own lives. Okay? So, what else were we talking about? Oh yeah, so essentially, anything in your life, if you're coming from a place of lack, that means that you're signaling to not only yourself, but the divine that you're missing something. And that's not accurate, that's inaccurate. And that can also create a lot of manipulation in your life too. If you always feel like you're lacking something, if you always feel like you're missing something, you're vulnerable. You're coming from a very vulnerable place. Okay? Because when you feel like you're lacking something, it's saying that I have cracks in my vessel, I'm not complete on my own, and you can become vulnerable at that point too, because you're going to try to fill those things with the wrong things, because you're not seeing the divinity inside of yourself and you're giving your power away. And that's what, when it comes to religion, even though I am so happy I grew up in the church, and I also have previous lifetimes where I was very studious. I'm talking poured over scripts at night. Okay? I know for a fact anything in life can have a lot of darkness as well. A lot of control, right? A lot of trying to manipulate people. trying to take them out of their divinity, trying to create cracks in their vessel, trying to prove to them left and right, comparison and paralysis, analysis, all these things. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not smart enough. You're not rich enough. You're not this. You're not that. Guess what? It's a lie. Because you're whole. Because you're here on a divine mission, connected directly to the divine, on a spiritual journey, with all these other souls who are doing the exact same thing, and we all decided to do it together. How neat. So I hope that kind of... Oh, thanks, bae. Exactly. And we're never actually alone either. There's so many illusions that the darkness likes to try to play with us. The darkness likes to try to keep us in these lower, very dense vibrational energies. And it's our choice to daily, intentionally rise above the 3D. Intentionally rise above lower dimensional energies. It's our choice. We have to be extremely intentional about it. That's why people go to church every Wednesdays and then on Sundays. Because they understand, even if they know the Bible, they understand, okay, if you understand yourself, like, okay, to keep me on the path, I need to actually physically go there. For someone like myself, I understand myself. It's a habit of mine to read my Bible every day, which I'm not telling anyone to read their Bible every day, but what I am saying is you should absolutely read some type of sacred scripture every single day, because it can act like a foundation to everything else in your life and keep you deeply rooted in the truth and rising above these lower vibrational energies that do not matter, that are only temporary. Exactly. And that's what this is all about. It's all about the metaphysical, because that's what's actually important. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here. So, it's funny how we've only touched on one of the commandments. Yeah. Essentially, again, guys, just as review, our first commandment is that essentially source is real, and to know that it's real, and to connect to that, and to trust, to have certainty. What this will do, it will help you correct any evil mind tendencies, which would be, of course, those lower vibrational energies of doubts, fears, overanalysis, paralysis, making you think that you're separate from Source when you are part of Source. We are creators from Creator, right? So by affirming that you are divinity, you are one with God, you're not separate from God, you are reinforcing that channel, you're reinforcing that truth, you're trusting that everything in the present moment especially is a gift, and it's coming directly from God, having certainty that you're being led, divinely led, having certainty that you're calling in even your future right now, your future lifetimes, having certainty that even when you're in your darkest hole, the blackest of black abyss in your current lifetime, having certainty that there's a divine plan for that. Because guess what? You've had darkness before. You've been here before. I would even argue a lot of the similar crises you've been through in this lifetime, you've actually experienced before. Why do I know that? From experience. But also because what I do know is God Source, all whatever you call it, does never, ever, ever, the divine never puts us through something we can't handle, even if it's gruesome. Never puts us through something we cannot handle. Okay? And so it is very common to actually have similar crises happen throughout a couple lifetimes. And that's why you look back on that time in your life right now, that black hole time in your life, and you're like, dang, I did get past that. And I came out with soaring colors, and I'm really proud of myself. I didn't self-harm. I didn't try to go suicide. I didn't do this. I didn't hurt anyone. I rose above. I didn't project my feelings. I rose above. Exactly. And you can look back and be like, wow, those times that you thought you were going through the ringer, you were actually divinely protected. You were actually loved throughout the entire horrific events that you've experienced. Doesn't mean that they're okay, but you were actually divinely protected. Y'all putting me on a pedestal. Hey, if I'm on a pedestal, then the pedestal's an auditorium with all of us. Okay. Exactly. Y'all, exactly. So, we expand our vessel to receive more abundance by not needing anything. By not needing anything. Another spiritual law of detachment. Why is that a great law? I would even say it's the law of certainty. I like that better than detachment. Detachment is kind of triggering. It's, I don't know, maybe not. But, you're right, I like that. Instead of the law of detachment, it's the law of certainty, because it's the same thing, but it's from a different, higher perspective, I'd say. Law of certainty says you don't need anything outside of yourself. Outside of your divinity with God, outside of that. Law of certainty says that you are going to be divinely led, divinely guided, and we can wake up and we can have full hearts, full of love and joy, peace, patience, prosperity, because of this law of certainty, law of surrender, or law of detachment. Those are all very similar. I'm calling it the law of certainty because I like that. It's very much so more Kabbalistic in the spiritual wisdom side, more Kabbalah led. For anyone who doesn't know the Kabbalah, it's essentially a bunch of Jewish mysticism, which I highly recommend. If you guys stick around on this channel, you're going to be essentially Jewish, Christian, spiritual, Good Samaritan. You're going to be maybe start to get pretty good within science. There we go. Amen. You're going to be hopefully we can all, grow and expand our consciousness together, essentially. So, to really anchor in this crown, divine crown that we all have and we all carry, to really anchor in our connection with Source, to really anchor in this first commandment of there is Source, we can begin each single day with a little bit of gratitude, right? Gratitude is essentially the seed of all things, guys. Another secret wisdom, if you will, which is no secret. The attitude of gratitude will literally change your life. It rewires your neurons in your brain, your receptors, preceptors, I don't even know. Okay? It rewires your brain to focus on the good. And the energy you're focusing on is the energy that you're also calling in. So wouldn't we want to call in more good energies? So let's focus on the good. Doesn't matter if it's something really small. Thank you, God, I have, or thank you, Source, thank you, Divine, I have air, clean air to breathe. It doesn't matter how small. We can start with gratitude to basically bring in abundance, to bring in divinity. What Aristotle would say about this divine connection is you're essentially cultivating and choosing actions aligned with divine purpose. avoiding the extremes of despair or arrogance. A good affirmation is, I am source, I am connected to source, I am divine, I am united, I am one with the all. Oh, this has been like my favorite thing to do, is like the heart chakras, where you just do a bunch of hearts and they're the chakras or whatever. Like, yay, heart chakras. Ooh, look at that. That's so nice. Thank you so much. So, that concludes the first of 10 commandments. Would you guys like to do a second? Or we could pick it up tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So tomorrow we'll start with it'll be day 2, second commandment. So we'll probably be able to get through a couple commandments tomorrow. But essentially, the first 5 commandments, again, are going to be the upper chakras, okay? And also, they're more than likely tied to also the upper parts of the Tree of Life. Because just like the chakras, when you go up the system, it goes into divine, unity, subconscious. Same thing with the Tree of Life. It starts from the root, and then it goes into the Ein Sof, which is the all, which is divine light, okay? So we'll go ahead and pick up this tomorrow. Appreciate y'all. It'll probably be 7:30 again. So, unless you guys have a request for something different, just send me a message on one of my platforms. J.A. Gratias on all platforms. I appreciate you guys. Oh, thank you so much. Hurts. Chakra heart. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are the best. My community. Look at us. Look at us just freaking loving life. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. Oh, man. It's the best. So, yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow and have a beautiful evening. Cheers.